Yeah, hello, viewers. Welcome to KDL TV live show tonight. As promised, and a continuation from where we left the other day, talking about the Mwanyagetinge presidential elections. Today, we're having another presidential aspirant, Gwaro, who is joining us live here from here in Minneapolis. Before we go on, I want to thank our viewers for the feedback you continue to send to us. Thank you very much. And also thank those ones who already appeared here on the show for all the good work that you're doing. So I want to welcome here, Jared. Let's begin with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Very good. Hey, quickly, let's get to business. I'm sure you're ready for this. I want to ask you a quick question as we get ready for the conversation. Did you have a chance to watch the your competitor Hilda Mumanyi the other day, and what were your thoughts from that interview?
Yes, I did. All I can say, it's a tough competition. I can see right now. I'm ready for it, and then regardless of the results, I'm ready to work with anybody who goes into the office. Of which I'm just assuming the same thing. That's what he expects.
Okay, very good. First, let's get to the niche details of this. But as I do so, may I congratulate you? Congratulations for taking the initiative of participating. It's never an easy thing. Most people don't like to get to public life. You, as a young person, chose to do this. So I'm personally sending my congratulatory message to you, and obviously wishing you well in this debate and during your campaign trail. That's important for you to know as we begin with this. So, Jerry, let me ask you a quick question here. Why are you running for this office?
Thank you, Dr. Ali, for asking me that question and then giving me the opportunity to just give the opinion to the society why I'm running to the office. I know, first of all, this is an organization that I'm going to work for the organization. I'm not love I have to my community, and then how passionate I am to help the community to grow, to build the unity that we need as a community, Mwanyagetinge united. So that's the main reason why I'm learning.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So I'm assuming that you've had a chance to study the organization itself. You've understood its history, its successes and failures, and that gives you reason as to why you're running. Tell me, what do you bring to the table that the other aspirants haven't brought so far?
To begin with, our community has been, the history and tells our community has been lasting for all. There's a lot of things we've been expecting our community to do, but they have not been done. For instance, our community is expected, we are immigrants here. Being an immigrant as a community. But now it got to a point whereby our people, our leaders, failed a little bit by not uniting us as a community, by letting people to be fractured, to go to constituency-based groups, clan groups. That's why now the unity started to depart away. So going forward, my foremost aim, once I go, Omogusi needs to be united.
Yeah, you take note of the fact that there are failures. It's always good to analyze the performance of an organization, look at its successes, which is a good thing. It's also important to accept that there are some failures. That's important. And based on those findings, it gives you reason to project where the organization should go. Knowing what you've already said, that there are a couple of failures in the organization, how do you give me two precise failures that you pinpoint in the organization and how you improve in your administration?
The first failure I can say is accountability. The organization Mwanyagetinge has been lasting for all this long, and then people have been demanding accounts. There is no records that is being shown to the community like this is what we have. So in my office, I'm going to create an office for balance and check. In this office will be learning to do audit, maybe quarterly, maybe two times a year, so that so that I can reflect anything that is in the house. It should be reflected. If we receive some money, maybe some donations from the community, let me say from our business owners, they donate some money to the organization. Now, as leaders, we should reflect to the way. We need to show that to the community, like this is the money we received, and the year is the spreadsheet how we spend this money, so that people can know exactly there is accountability in the office.
Okay, so thank you for taking note of that. You also recognize, Jared, that for you to be successful as a leader in an organization, you have also to pay attention to who led the organization to where it is. So over the last 31 years, the guys who led the organization are still within the community, and they still amass a lot of influence within the community. Tell me how you're going to face them and how you're going to bring them all on board to make sure that you rally the community behind your vision and mission.
Our leaders, regardless of their status, how they led the organization, we need to recognize them like they are our people. These are the people at the same time. They didn't fail everything. There's some aspects where there are some situations whereby they did not work well. People have weaknesses, people have strength. So I have to involve them. If someone I know, if the if the former president he was good at this, I'll have to consult this leader. His leadership. I like your help on this. So I'll just put them on the table. I'm going to recognize everybody in the all the presidents that they have been there. I'm going to recognize them, and I'm going to work with them as one team. Not that depending if or not. These are the people we need. These are the people who are going to come to the office and tell us, oh, Jared, when I was in this office, I tried this avenue. Can you try this avenue? Maybe, we're going to leave you everything with them.
Who might say, Jared, you're very nice, you're a good-looking young man, you have very good ambitions, and everybody obviously in the community will really appreciate you, including myself, for coming out to run for this office, and appreciate the passion that you have for this particular office. But there are those ones who say, Jared, good point, but you're still too young for this office. Maybe you should have waited a year or 2 years later, or go for a lesser position. What do you say to them?
You have to choose. If you have passion and your organization or your community is missing something and you're good at that, it's good for you to come to the table and then you represent your ideas to the community. When you are in a different office, you have to choose which position that fits you. There's a reason why I choose to be a president, because I know we had so many people that are scared to run as a president. They have been like, oh, this position is made for only the old people. I'm out here to reflect to the community, like that office is not only dedicated for only old people.
Okay, good point. I appreciate that. It's not only that's very true. I agree with you. It's not for the old people. It should be very inclusive. So if it's very inclusive, let's go to some specifics. With all due respect, you're fairly young. That's a good thing. And obviously, those ones who've served in the office, they have done their part. They have written a good chapter in the history of the organization. We always salute to them. That's very important, and I appreciate that you are paying respect to them. That's very important. But tell me, how are you going to convince the younger population that is really not been much involved in the organization to come on board with you?
The first thing I'm going to do in my office, I'm going to use diversity. When it comes to diversity, I'm going to involve everybody in the community. I'm going to involve them in activities we want. The first thing we have to do, I'm going to give an opportunity to the youth whereby we're going to celebrate. We have cultural events whereby we're going to bring the youth, maybe sports like soccer. We're going to have traditions of the youth, what they are interested on.
Very good. So, as you know, Jared, thank you. Good point. I understand the baby is crying for bind. I think the baby is just giving you cheers. That you're doing a good job. So that's a good thing. So, as you know, for the first time in the history of the organization, we are having two female running for who are your competitors, and they're really doing a fantastic job so far. But we also know that the women have not been as much involved in the organization as is today. What will you do to make sure that you have a large population of women involved in your administration?
If you read my biography, the first thing I said, I'm going to give diversity. I'm going to be diversity, and then I'm going to introduce leadership. So I'm going to create an office whereby we're going to have a women representative, whereby they're going to view their grievances to their office when they have a problem, and then I'm going to involve the youths. I'm going to create the youth position whereby they're going to come and then help at the same time. So I'm going to involve them in different activities. So that's why I'm saying, like, in my office, I'm going to include everybody, regardless of the gender. I'm going to include everybody. In Imogusi, we are united together. We're supposed to work as one individual, not two or three.
Very good. So thank you. Good point there, Jared. Let me ask you now. We've been talking about the organization, the history of the organization, its composition and the like. That's okay. But I'm sure you've taken time to study our community and understand the community really good. Can you identify three major problems that you think, to the best of your knowledge, our community is facing right now? And then explain to me how you will address those problems.
Our community has been having problems, like based in family issues. We have problems in the family issues. Then we have problems at workplaces, and then we have problems whereby I can say in our community whereby you go to somewhere. Maybe let me go say you go to one Matanga, then they say, oh, this is for Omunyalivali, this is for Omogusi. I mean Omogetutu. This is for our two. I'm going to create what we call Council of Elders. When I'm going to create Council of Elders in my office, this Council of Elders, in the American court system. I know most of the people, they don't know Council of Elders. They are recognized in court system in America. So I'm going to create Council of Elders. There is going to solve the problems in the community. If you have a problem, let me say, instead of going to court, you should come to these Council of Elders so that they can give you advice. They will be responsible in giving you advice in terms of marriage, in terms of education, in terms of they will be mentoring our people in the society. So that's the role they're going to do as the community. Another thing I'm going to create I'm going to count on the small group, maybe for the constituency groups, the clan groups. I'm going to count into these leaders. I'm going to involve them in any decision we're making as a community. If we have a problem, need to talk about something, I'm going to call upon them so that they can come, we sit together, and then we deal with this problem as a community, not as Mwanyagetinge only.
Jared, as you understand, pretty much what you're doing here, you're going through a political process, right? That's a good thing. Sometimes it's good to be very nice. It's good to be very diplomatic, which is what you're sounding to do right now. You are young, you're still learning. Don't you think if you're going to depend on these sprinter groups, if you will, or constituents groups, you're going to solicit for the support all the time, don't you think that will pull you behind, and that might come across as somebody who's not very stable in your administration?
Not only these small groups, I'm going to involve everybody, including our business owners. We have so many people. We have those people like you. I will call upon you to the support to the community, because all in all, our community depends on us. We are the community, so it depends on us. So we need to come up and then help the community, work together as Omogusi, work to one family, not divided.
About another aspect that is very important, again, I want to pinpoint this one here. I appreciate you pinpointing some of those issues that our community is facing, and there are many more. But I want us to address a specific demographic in our community, which should be really near and dear to you and to me as well. In this country, clearly most of the women seem to be doing well socially and economically. That's important. But as you know, the black men, particularly young black men, are in trouble. And I'll tell you this: I do take moments sometimes to review within the jail system here in the state of Minnesota. Every Monday, every jail in Minnesota they do a really list the number of people in jail. And every time I check, I see quite a number of people whose last names sound like they belong to our community. Tell me how your administration will address this problem, particularly help our young men so that they don't end up being in jail.
That's a good question, Dr. To be honest with you, if we had this, let's go back to Kenya. We have the council of elders put in place. When there's a problem in the community, people go to those people and then they settle the problem before they go to court. Now, instead of us going to court, there's some disputes. If you look at those problems, the reason why maybe they go to court, they are very simple questions that our people can deal with that problem before getting to court. Once these council of elders are going to be recognized in our community, at the same time, since they are being recognized in the court system of America, once they get there, the first thing they'll do, or go to your council of elders, bring a report. If maybe there was a disagreement, you did not, your case wasn't settled well, bring a report from the council of elders, and then we go from there. That way, people will come to the community, to the council of elders. The disputes that we're dealing with in the community, let me say domestic violence, let me say among other disputes we have, our council of elders, they can deal with that.
Okay, so Jared, I want to move you, but still on the same position. Just push back on what you're saying. If you've been reading on the social media, particularly on the WhatsApp group, you will agree with me that some of the language that has been used there is, quite frankly, unfortunate. That it should not be used. That there should be more respect for all the users of those groups. And so, also to add on the same, the very council of elders that you're trying to propose are the ones who've been duped as failures to the organization. How are we going to constitute a council of elders who we're already calling failures?
To be honest with you, our organization doesn't have a structure. You cannot run an organization without a structure. If you have a constitution that governs the group, everything goes smooth. But now the fact that we don't have a constitution in place, that governs people. People have all the freedom. They can exercise all the freedom they have. They can do anything they want because they know there is nothing is going to tie them towards something. They're going to face some consequences when they do this. Now that we don't have a constitution, that's the reason why we're experiencing this. But if we're going to have a constitution that is set, we have a constitution that is put in place, then we're good to go.
So how will you deal with such kind of language? Quite frankly, there are people who have texted me and they're deeply concerned that the kind of language that is being used in the social media is very disrespectful and does not reflect who we are as a community. How are you going to just be very specific? And I wish that you look straight to the camera. How are you going to address that particular problem that is really discouraging most of our good people from participating in community affairs?
Have a constitution in place. It's going to give some guidelines. How, if you posting anything in the group, it has to undergo, it has to go some rules. I mean, it has to go behind some rules. You don't have to get anything from anywhere you just put in the group. We need to acknowledge our fathers, our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, they are in the group. So we need to acknowledge that, and then we need to give everybody the respect they deserve. So we have to get some guidelines on now we're going to communicate in the forum. The same way I can meet you, I can text you something bad, but once I'm with you one-on-one, I don't think I can say that. So now I'm hiding behind the keyboard, I can say that. So we're going to have those guidelines that are going to govern the group.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So here's another question. We're talking about Mwanyagetinge as a group. We'll talk about the structure. You've identified a couple of problems that you think the community needs to address, but you also know that as an organization, and as a community, we can't do this alone. We need to partner with other organizations, whether within the Kenyan organizations or non-Kenyan organizations. Do you know of any organization that you think once you get to office that you really want to partner with so that we achieve our goals?
I have one organization in mind. I've been working with them for so long, and then I've been doing a frontier work from work. I've been volunteering to help them. It's called United Way, and then United Way, I'm going to work with them so that they can help us in terms of grants. They do over grants when we have something we need to deal with as a community. I'm going to give them a proposal, then they can help us whenever possible. They are going to help us. At the same time, I'm going to involve our community churches, our community business members, so that I'm going to call upon them so that when we have a problem, that way they can come forward and then help us as a community.
Good. I'm glad you mentioned the pastors and the church. I hope yesterday you had a chance to watch our discussion with the Kenyan pastors on our show here. Can you tell me how your religion or your spirituality will guide your leadership?
First of all, in terms of religious perspective, when we have, let me say, Madaraka Day, we're celebrating Madaraka Day, we're going to give the opportunity our pastors to give us spiritual sessions. When we have any events, I'm going to involve our church leaders to come and then help us in terms of spirituality. So I'm going to involve them in every way, in any aspect we're going to work as Mwanyagetinge. I'm not going to leave them aside.
Very good. One more time, I want to ask you, Jared, because you're on the campaign trip, I want to give you a minute. I want you to look straight to the camera and talk to young people, especially because key point, we need the young people. This organization is not about the old generation, as you said. We need to respect the old generation, that's important, but the young people need to get involved in the process. I want to give you a minute to look straight to the camera and talk to the young people, tell them why you think they should be involved in this process.
Those people that are at my age, maybe below my age, or maybe 5 years difference, I'm just requesting you as my age mates. The old people are going. And this generation is going to remain, or Mwanyagetinge is going to remain at our hands. What are we going to represent to our kids if we don't step up? Let's come together, work as a team, so that we can get mentored from our old people. They can give us some guidance and counseling on how we deal with issues in the community. I know the fact that we are immigrants in this country, we should come and work together, regardless of the age. We should come abroad, work as a team, help everybody in the community, so that we can achieve the common goal of being united.
Okay, okay, great. And how are you going to recruit them, Jared?
I'm going to recruit them. I say cultural events. I know our young people, they like they like sports. Summertime, they always like sports. They want to go. I mean, they want to go attend soccer. They want to go to University of Minnesota to attend basketball. So those are the activities I'm going to have. And then now that we're going to have those activities, I'm going to say, for example, Dakota will be playing this weekend with Hennepin County. So it will be the responsibility from the court, I mean, local representatives to have their own team to come and meet with Hennepin County so that they can play a match.
Competitor is cheering you up. That's quite impressive. They're talking about the future, so they're really giving you thumbs up for what you're doing. I'm going to ask you, Jared, as you know, the social cultural aspect of our people, the dynamics are changing, right? So it's no longer about Omogusi. Within our community, we have non-Kisi-born members of our community. Many of us who have been married to non-Kisis, our sisters and brothers have been married elsewhere, and we also have friends to the community. Tell me how you involve non-Kisi members in the organization.
Oh, first of all, we need to give them a ticket. That's a free ticket they get into our community. We're giving them a green card. Now, actually, in my office, I'm going now to give them citizenship, whereby I'm going to recognize them. Everything we do, we're going to involve them. We're not going to be saying like, oh, because you belong to this group, you're not counted. No, we need to be unified as a community. We need to be united as a community, regardless where you're coming from. Once you just being adopted to our community, we need to accept that, and then we need to accept you as our own. Now we have to own you, and then we have to say you belong to our community. This is how things are done in our community. If we have something, we'll call upon you. So since you belong to our community. So I'm going to recognize them in all aspects.
Very good. And I think you also monitored the discussion on the WhatsApp groups. The organization is pretty much registered in Minnesota. But if you look at what's happening, there are many members, the Kisi community from across the country, who really are so passionate about what's happening here in Minnesota. I think you've seen that so far. In the future, do you think it would be reasonable for us to incorporate members of our community who live in other states other than Minnesota?
My main aim will be working across the diaspora, whereby I'm going to identify someone maybe in Texas. I say, please, let's come together as Omogusi. Then we can use the name Mwanyagetinge as the name, whereby they can form their own group. Then they will be running the same agendas we have. Or if they have a different agenda, they can bring it abroad and then, on board, and then we will discuss about it, and then we will be working in cooperation with everybody, including different states. If they have an organization, we're going to encourage them to have an organization whereby they're going to unite the people as Omogusi in their state. And then now we can identify where we can call headquarters.
Good. And I assume the headquarters should be somewhere in Minneapolis, correct? Okay, very good. So, Jared, tell me, during your presidency, where do you see Mwanyagetinge as an organization in 5 years, 10 years time?
In 5 years, 10 years coming, The first thing I want to see the community is having trust on Mwanyagetinge. They have to see accountability and honesty. That's the most achievements goals I want to see on board. And then at the same time, united. Obomo Bomogusi. Coming together and then celebrating together. And then to see even the Tokorogana social profiling. I come from Kitutu Church, I come from Nyaribari, I come from Masava, those things tora tigake tocha sa toba antabo munomugusi toba united, and then to accepting we are a migrant in the United States. That one we need to agree we are immigrants, and then being immigrants we need to own our culture. We need to work together as a group, as a team. When we have a problem, together united, we defeat the problem.
Okay, very good. So, Jared, I want to ask you the same question I asked Ulda the other day. Okay, and I teach leadership and I teach politics. Okay, it's one thing to have a dream and have a passion, right? It's good to talk very nicely, articulate this very, very well on camera, social media with your immediate friends. That's very good. And I want to talk here on a very serious note. And if you listen to the outgoing president, Chui, is really clearly and in public acknowledged that it's not easy. So I want to ask you, because Mwanyagetinge is pretty much a family, so I want to ask you, like a younger brother, have you done your enough research? And are you mentally and psychologically prepared for the office that you're about to assume if you're elected?
Let me give you a small example. When I was in Kenya, I was a regional coordinator for Uwezo Kenya. Uwezo Kenya is an NGO, non-governmental organization, and then it was in cooperation with Young Christian Association, whereby they were doing studies on how effectiveness free primary education has helped the young kids in the society. So I worked with so many people that's in Nyamira, Kisii County, and Ogembo. I was operating those areas. I met with different families. When you go to a different family, they say, I don't want you to access my kids, because they understand maybe the kid, they are not getting good education, because we had to do some assessment. So some families were arrogant, some families were welcoming. The fact that, I have that experience, how I can work with different people, how I can bring different people into board. And then, so my organization is not like only me, it's going to be us. Not me, but it's going to be us. We're going to own it.
Do you have any word for your competitors right now, Jared?
My competitors, the only thing I can say, regardless of the outcome of the election, we should work together as a team, as united, as Omugusi. If you win, I'm here. I'll support you 100%. If I win, I hope that's the expectation too. You will give me the 100% support that I need. So we should work together. Regardless of the outcome of the results, we should be ready to work as Omugusi, whereby we're going to be united.
Very good. So if I hear you correctly, Jared, you're saying, if you win, your hope is that your competitors will have to concede and support you, and that if you don't win, you will acknowledge and also support whoever wins. Is that correct understanding?
100%, that's true.
Okay. So just on a lighter note, before we make a closing statement here, Jared, tell me, obviously, Corona has really changed the way we do things, and that's in part why we're doing these kind of interviews, right? All of us were caged at homes, and the aftermath of George Floyd, obviously, you've seen the drama that has been happening in this country and around the world. Tell me, what do you eat? What do you do for fun to keep you going during these difficult times?
Uh, the first thing, I'm just going to be honest. Our community, they have not acknowledged we have corona. There are some individuals, they don't, I mean, they say like corona is just like a flu. First of all, we need to acknowledge there is corona. It has side effects. We need to do exercise. I've been going to the gym. I've been working out. I've been eating the traditional food. Owokima, linagu, chinsaga, lisosa. I've been eating all those. Nerongoli, yoboli, I've been drinking that. So those are the things I've been eating. I've been drinking at the same time. Water. I've been drinking water. Enough water. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Jared. So here's what I'll do you now is a closing statement. And what I'll do, obviously, I'll ask the cameraman to take me off the camera and then focus on you so that you have 1-2 minutes to make your closing statement.
Thank you, Mwanyagetinge, for coming forward so that we can work together as a team. Going forward in my office, I'll be working to unite Omogusi, regardless of being in Minnesota, regardless of being in Texas, in different states. I'll be working towards creating unity. I'll be working creating council of elders. I'll be working in helping people in our community, mentoring our people spiritually, economically. So I'm looking way forward for your thoughts. Support me. I'll support you as a community leader. At the same time, we will achieve our goal, whereby we're looking to be united as Omogusi or Abamo Omogusi in America. Thank you. May God bless you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jared, for coming on. I appreciate you taking time to be on the show. But before we let you go, just hold all brief band the back. I'll bring you in a moment. And then we're going to have a guest coming on here. If you don't mind bringing him, somebody from the Electoral Commission is going to make a quick statement here before we finish up with Jared.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Kari, for this chance to highlight a few things that we are doing. And I know people have lots of questions about what's going on. We have registered as of 6 p.m. today. I think we were closing in on 700 members tonight, and that is impressive. It's an overwhelming number because when we were planning this, we did not anticipate to have more than 300 people registering to vote or registering as Mwanyagetinge members. We are doing our best, and I have lots of questions, people asking about the registration money and going to Cash App. When is this going to be updated? We are trying our best, but what is happening is that we have to send those in batches. So it's a batch of 30, a batch of 40. So the lag behind why you're not seeing the numbers that's the reason why that's happening. I also want to announce that tomorrow at about 4 p.m. we have a meeting with the aspirants. About 4 p.m. We are going to look at some ground rules of these elections. Some of the things we'll look at is I want to take them through the system, explain it, how that works, and then we're going to talk about the day of the election itself. We'll plan on inspecting the voter register and looking at a few other logistics and technical issues that they want to familiarize themselves with so they're comfortable going forward. We are also going to look at the date when these elections are being announced. How is that going to be done? How are the winners going to announce or come with a speech, and how are the losers going to come with a concession speech, and those kind of things. We're also looking at the inauguration ceremony, the old leadership handing into the new leadership. That will be talked about tomorrow, starting from 4 p.m. And then that will be not the end of it. We are still going to have more conversations as the week progresses. Probably another meeting on Wednesday. Probably another meeting with with the agents of the candidates or the candidate themselves. Another quick meeting on Friday just before the elections take place. Registration is open till tomorrow at midnight, 11:59 p.m. Please hurry up, register, don't be late. I know sometimes people tend to procrastinate and wait for the last minute, but I'm one of those people. But please hurry up, register before it closes. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. You can ask me, and Chairman Atima can also answer your questions, and some of the commissioners can also answer your questions. I'm glad the email was given out. Also send your question to the email, and I'll gladly answer them. We are tirelessly working from my basement and getting all these things done. I've never done this kind of project or this kind of assignment before, but I'm sure we are up to the task and we will not let you down. Thank you for those ones who are registering every day. I can't thank you enough of the interest that Mwanyagetinge is having right now. It's overwhelming, it's phenomenal. I've never seen anything like this. The future is so bright that you need maybe glasses. All right, thank you so much, and I will see you soon.
So thank you, Mr. Mayaka. Thank you. I think you guys in the commission are doing well. By the way, you're very eloquent. What I'm seeing right here on my screen is the future of the organization. Thank you. Keep doing that. Obviously, there are hiccups those should be expected in such a process, but I'm sure we'll learn out of the failures that might arise. But thank you very much. So again, I think viewers, that will pretty much bring us to the end of this. I want to thank the presidential candidate Jared Gwaro for coming on the show. Thank you, Jared, for all you're doing. Obviously, you're working very hard to reach a larger number of our people so that they vote for you. Just know that we wish you nothing but the very best in your campaign trail. Thank you for being very respectful, very disciplined, and trying to rally the community behind what I truly think is a good cause for our community and way forward. So we appreciate you. Thank you for all you're doing. We are looking forward to seeing you again here on the grand finale debate next Friday. So again, thank you very much for being on. So as we finish, for the viewers, I'm going to thank you again for joining us tonight. And again, make a rallying call to the community. Please, 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 something is happening. Something really, really good is happening in this community. I think the number of people registering, as the commissioner said moments ago, is overwhelming. This is good, and that means that we've come to the realization that together as Omo and Tomo Gusi, we have a future, and particularly with the young aspirants and the women who are really really moving it to the next level. And I want to do this here because out of public demand, I've been asked to call the community so that we all rally together, because together as a people, we need to move forward. So I've been asked to acknowledge the leaders who've led the organization in the past, and very kindly ask them that silence is not an option this time round. We need your voice. You need to rally the community so that together we really form the next strong Mwanyagetinge for the future. So we salute Shem Nyangito. Thank you for the good work you did. It's recognized, and people are saying they need to hear your voice. The same goes to Kennedy December. Thank you for the wonderful job you did as well. Paul Morande, that's the time when I came in. People are saying thank you for the good work you did, but they're also saying we need to hear your voice, rally the community behind this good cause. Mwalimu Hespon Simba, I have a text message. People are saying great work you're doing for the community. They're asking you to rally behind so that we have a good cause for the society. My dear friend David Bichanga, great job. People are saying you're doing good, fine, but we need to rally the community behind. Jeremiah, people are saying, look, you did a great job as well. We need to hear your voice. Javed Kimaiga, you know, obviously you're doing great work, but people are saying they need you. Chui as well, they're saying they need your voice. And Simon Yamari, interestingly here, people are saying they need to hear your voice, rally the community behind what we think should be a good cause. I've also been asked to talk directly to the women group within the community. With all due respect, it's a text message I'm receiving here. I want to acknowledge Betty Mairula and the AMWA group. So I'm asked for the first time, all of you need to come together so that we all push this organization further. I'm also asked Lina Nyamwaya, my cousin, my good friend, and turn on organization. Please, your voice is needed. Rally the community, particularly the female, to come on. Pastors Bogongo, I'm also asked that you have tremendous respect in the community. Please rally the community behind Jackie Ongechi, Dr. Gladys Nyambwari, Dr. Judy Onduso, Elizabeth Marigi, Jacqueline Oigo, and many others in the community. Please rally people behind. So I've also been asked to talk directly to the business community. If the businesses are going to grow, they have to depend on the community. So this is a time when you're needed to push the community together. My good friend, learned friend, Henry Ongeri, people are saying your voice is needed. Tom Guitar, you're needed. Henry Mogire, Onserio, Boachora, Steve Mendieka, Licha Mabururu, Chocho, Dr. Kirandi, all of you, the community is saying we need your voice at this time. Also, I'm asked, the next section I'm asked here, I'm told that most of our people do belong to different churches, and they're saying this time round, the pastors need to lead their congregants into this good cause. So they're asking Pastor Maina, Pastor Liki, Pastor Mokua, Pastor Kenyanya, Pastor Virai, Pastor Zipora Bogongo, and Pastor Clement, and other pastors in the community. People are asking me to ask you very kindly, your voice is needed right now. Rally the people behind so that people register between today and tomorrow, because what we truly think, we need to pay respect for those who've led the organization, but also it's time we open a new chapter for this organization. As a people, as Omogusi, I think we have a very bright future. So thank you so much for watching tonight. We're looking forward to having you again tomorrow at 11 Central, when we have two fantastic, wonderful women who are coming on the show to discuss. Edith and Neema. I think almost everybody knows the committee, but we're looking forward to that show. Also at 12:20 p.m. tomorrow, Charles Maisiba will be on. So remember, again, on Monday at 7:30 Central Time, we're going to have another presidential candidate. That will close the chapter for presidential candidates on one-on-one interviews. My dear friend, Susan Mabera, will be on. Again, the grand finale next Friday at 7:15 Central Time. We're going to have all this presidential come on and discuss. And I'm asking the community to tune on, and all those ones prepping them, please do your very best so that we have the best debate ever seen on here. Again, so that I don't forget, we also welcome you on Thursday at 6 Central Time when we're having exit interview from outgoing President Geoffrey Joy. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good night. See you tomorrow.